Education. So this is actually how we're going to write your resume today. We're going to be writing it from the top, and then we're going to go from the bottom up, because your education is your foundation to what you know, essentially, right? So we're going to go with education first. And this is actually what it's going to look like. Your education level would be like, if you're in grade 11, and you go to Hugo High School, I guess, where this person, and write the dates that, you attended. Usually you just want to keep just one high school that you go to. And if you have a college degree, you don't even really have to put your high school diploma there. Volunteer experience, employment/volunteer experience. This is an important part of, and this is really good to try to think about this. Does anybody here not have any experience with volunteering or employment? Okay, I'll take your silence as, yeah, all of you do have experience, so maybe this will be a little easier for you guys to write, because it's really important to try to highlight all the volunteer experience that you have, because volunteer experience is still experience. Whether you got paid or whether you did it for free, you did it. You went there and you were on time. You did the duties that were there. That's what I want to know as an employer. I want to know that, yes, this person has experience, and when they come here to work, they know what good work ethic looks like. And then you could have community involvement as well. So let's say you're in high school right now. You could still put that you're in, for instance, if you play soccer. Does anybody here play a sport, by the way? You guys can speak up.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, who said that? Sorry.
It's me, Celine.
Oh, sling. Yeah. So what do you play?
Volleyball.
Okay. So why is that a good thing to put on your resume, you think?
Because the people that will hire me will see that I'm athletic and that I can work hard.
Well, yeah. More important to that is that you probably go to practice all the time, right? Or you did go to practice all the time, right? To volleyball. You also probably showed teamwork skills. That these are things that you learn so much when you're in sports, is learn how to have good teamwork. You probably encourage your teammates to do the best you can. I mean, with volleyball, you have to be very coordinated. So that means you can really work in a team. That looks really good. Tutoring, all those things. It's really important to put those things down. Now the real, the main course of your resume, the big main part of it is the skills and experiences. These are a list of things that your skills, what you've actually done and accomplished, and tasks you've completed. So I really want to see real statements about specific things you've done. And I want different categories. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by categories. Just going back here. It says, customer service and communication skills. It has a list of all those. And organizational and time management abilities. Teamwork and leadership skills. You're breaking it down. Essentially, you want to make your resume as readable as possible for an employer. It's only one page, so you want to make sure everything there counts and that catches an employer's eye. If I see these, these different categories, it's easy for me to look at that. Sorry, we just have these pictures here. So what does a skill statement even look like? This is what it looks like. So first of all, you want to break it down and make sure you have 3 parts to it. So this is a little bit of grammar class we have going on right now. So your action verb, your ability, your responsibility or task, and then the result, what happened in the end, or the reason why you do it. So mowed lawns, does that look good on a resume? I don't think so. It's a little bit of a weak of a statement. Mowed lawns for private homes. Okay, that looks a little better. But how about this statement? mowed lawns for private homes to contribute to neighborhood curb appeal. Now that looks good. It really describes what you've done. In reality, you just mowed a lawn, but the fact that you could articulate your duty in such a way, it looks really good for employers. It shows that you take care in what you do. You want to make sure that your neighborhood looks good, right? That's what this is, neighborhood curb appeal. It's appealing for people to look at that in the neighborhood. So again, here's another, I'm color coding it here for all of you. So mowed, and it says lawns for private homes to contribute to neighborhood curb appeal. So I want you guys, you can take a screenshot if you want, write this down what you can. You just want to make sure you write these skill statements really nicely. And make them specific. Don't make them very general. I want them to be very, very specific to the time that you actually did these things. All right, here's another version, and I'll just go right to the breakdown of it here. So swept, okay, again, you just write that you sweep, sweeping floors. And quite frankly, the fact that you can sweep floors means something. Not everybody actually knows how to sweep a floor, believe it or not. So swept floors of restaurant, and then you can write to maintain safe and hygienic working environment for both staff and customers. Now that looks good. I like how that looks. Yeah. So again, I'm breaking it down here. So swept is the action verb. Floors of restaurant is the duty or task. The result or benefit is to maintain safe and hygienic working environment for both staff and customers. Right. Does anybody have any questions so far? You don't? Okay. And then finally, the last part of your resume is your professional profile. These are the first things that employers look at. It's who you are in a nutshell. Because first impressions are everything. So who are you as a person? How would you describe yourself? You want to have different statements about yourself, about your soft skills and your hard skills. Now, what are soft skills and hard skills? So hard skills are teachable abilities or set skills that are easy to measure. Examples of hard skills include proficiency in a foreign language. So can anybody here, by the way, speak a second language? If you can, that's great, because it shows that you've learned something new. Learning a second language is really tough. I've tried to do that. I can't do that. If you have a certain type of degree or certificate, these are things that you can be taught, and they're easy to measure. You can actually measure them. Machine operation. Yeah, I know how to work a lathe, a wood lathe, for instance. You could write that down. Or different MIG or TIG welding. Those are hard skills. Soft skills, on the other hand, they're subjective skills that are much harder to measure. They're also known as people skills or interpersonal skills. And these are things that you really can't teach somebody this. I'll give you an example. I'm a very outgoing person, but I know a lot of people who aren't outgoing. I could give you a book about how to be outgoing. But are you going to be outgoing at the end of that, reading that? No. You have to practice it yourself. The same thing applies to people who are more independent. You can give me a book, How to Be Independent, but it's up to me. I have to learn how to do that myself. So teamwork, that's an example of, soft skills. Communication skills, that's something. Flexibility, you're able to work different shifts. You're able to work different hours, different duties, things like that. Oh, you know what? I don't have this on the slide, but I was going to show you guys what other skills would look like. Another example of what that would look like is, if you're fun and energetic person and you like to work, you work well with others, things like that. So anyway, that really is all about how to make a resume. Right now. So I'm going to actually share my screen again. And so I'm actually going to be making a resume with all of you. Does anybody have any questions before we start writing this resume?
Actually, I do.
Yes.
I was wondering, since like a resume is like one of the paperwork you have to hand in when for like a job application, whether it's part-time or full-time, is there like any
Mhm.
other like paperwork you have to hand in as well?
Cover letters too. Sorry, did you say cover letters?
No, just like paperwork in general. So cover letters could also be part of that. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so yeah, you definitely want to hand in your a cover letter too when you're trying to apply for a job. And for those of you who don't know, a cover letter is basically a letter to the employer describing more about yourself. What you've seen with this resume that we're writing is it's very concise and doesn't it shows a little bit about yourself, but with a cover letter you can really describe more about yourself. In addition to that, you also need to hand in references too. Uh, so people who would say good things about you. So those are some things that you want to hand in. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, you're welcome. Um, so does everybody have a Word document open or something similar? I have a weird off-brand version of it because I don't want to pay. Um, so you guys, it doesn't really matter what font you want to write in right now. Just really, we can just start writing this on our own right here. So we're going to first start with our name. Don't write my name unless this is your name too, which I would be very surprised. And then you want to write your home address. I'm not going to write my own home address because I don't want anybody um, stalking me or anything. So you want to make sure you have proper uh, postal code. And I always forget my postal code for my work. So BC9. So, and again, don't worry so much about how big font is or anything like that. And yeah, I have an extension. If you don't have, I'm assuming you guys don't have an extension, so you don't worry about that. So then your email, professional email, right? So that essentially is your contact information. Does anybody have any question about contact information? Uh, Batel, if you don't mind, do you think you can mute yourself? I can hear you type, so I just
Oh,
want to make
sorry.
sure. Yeah, no problem, no problem. And also, you guys can also speak up. Don't be shy. I don't really bite, so. Uh, Corone, are you still there?
I am
Corone,
here. Yes.
oh, all right. You're just very quiet this time, huh?
Probably because we have so many more participants now. I was kind of giving them a chance to speak up more. But I have a quick question. When is it
Yes.
not okay to put your address? Because I know some persons will say put your address, but then you put it and your address is gone to so many different employers, and it may be a security risk. So what would you recommend? You want the employers to know that you are in Winnipeg and you are probably within close reach to the office, but at the same time, you don't necessarily want to publicize your address. So what would be your recommendation for that?
Well, I would just make sure that you send it to companies that are legitimate, because yeah, there are some businesses that look a little shady. So this is why in our last presentation that I was in, we were talking about researching the company. So make sure is that the company you want to share your address with. But typically
Okay.
that is typically people really do expect to have your address. But with that said, I know there are some ads on there are some ads for jobs on Indeed that are not real jobs and they just want your personal information. So it's just really important to make sure, is this company legitimate? So you really have to research that. So
Okay. Thank
yeah.
you.
And I'm sorry, I've been seeing that some people have raised their hands, but it's hard for me to answer because I'm looking at my own screen. So You guys, it's okay to speak up or you can type in the chat. So, but yeah, I would typically put your information on here. And that's funny you should say that. And me saying that, wow, I'm not putting my personal address. I'm putting my work address. So I want you guys to all finish that. And you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach on here. Figure it out. Hey, Noah, are you still there?
Yeah, what's up?
Can I attach things on here like files?
I think you can link them in the chat. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I do that. Where I'm trying to see where I can do that. I don't see where. See, I'm on the online version, so.
Okay. You might have to attach it as like if you have like a Google Docs or OneDrive link, you might have to attach it like that, because I don't see that in my version as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's okay. They can all send me an email later about things. So, okay, that's all right. All right. So this is your basic information there. Now, the first thing I want you guys to do now, instead of writing your professional profile, I want you guys to write your education. So, press a couple spaces, enter a couple times, type in your education. So, tell me, who here has graduated high school? All right. Well, okay, never mind. Nobody's answering. That's okay. I know. That's just like Corona. I was saying you should, yeah, you can talk. It's all right. People like to talk if other people talk. So anyway, right. So for instance, for me, I would write, no, I actually didn't graduate from the University of Manitoba, but I'm just putting it there just because. And I'm pretending that I graduated this year. So that's what I would put right here. I could put the years that I was there, so I could do like 2015 to 2019. But I think it's just as a general rule, it's probably a good idea to just to do the year that you've done. And by the way, what I'm doing here is I'm not pressing space, I'm pressing tab. So if you guys know where tab is, that's right next to the Q button on your keyboard. So 1, 2, 3, do about 3 times, maybe 4, depending on how your margins are. Just try to keep it centered. Because you want to make sure everything is centered here. And if you only have your grade 12, or maybe somebody here said they were in grade 11.
I'm in grade 11 too.
Oh, who's that?
Austin.
Oh, Austin, fantastic. Great. So I'm going to pretend I'm Austin then. Great. Actually, that'd be a little weird if I got my bachelor's in psychology and somehow I only have grade 11. So I'm going to pretend I went to Oak Park High School. I graduated there in 2015. Hypothetically, of course, for this. Does anybody here have CPR and first aid? Anybody?
I signed up to do it, but I haven't done it yet. I did it a couple years ago, but it expired, so I need to redo it.
Okay, no problem. Does anybody here have any certifications? It's okay. You guys don't. I don't bite, so you guys can just let me know. Yeah, what certifications you have besides high school diploma or college? Anybody here have any certifications? WMIS? Does anybody have any WMIS? Or food handlers, smart choices, anything like that?
I got WMIS recently from OFE.
Oh, great. So then you can write this here. Is that right? WHMIS. Yeah, I think so. So you got it at OFE. And what year did you
Yes.
get that?
This year, 2020,
Right.
January.
Okay. Yeah. You could put the month that you did it, or you can just write the general year. I don't think it really matters whether you did it in January or what have you. I don't think it really matters that much. So, but yeah, it's really important, yeah, just to have the year. So, actually, I'm gonna take this off just because I didn't even go to school in Winnipeg, so I'm putting that here anyway. All right. So, does anybody have any questions about the education?
I have a question.
Yes.
What if like you're entering a grade? Like, let's say I want to do a summer job and I'm entering a new grade level. Like, would I put the grade level I'm entering or the grade level that I just currently finished?
You would do the grade that you currently finished.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. That is a good question. So also, for instance, let's say that I'm pursuing my bachelor's in psychology. Then you would actually do 2019 to present. So yeah, you could do, yeah, you would do the most recent grade you're in. So yeah, and then you do to present. So whatever year you started going to that place to present. But if you completed the grade, it doesn't matter. You can just take it out.
Okay.
So
I
all
have
right.
a question.
Yes.
If you did something like a babysitter's course, would you put that in education as well?
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Babysitter's certificate. And was that with St. John's Ambulance, or what was that with?
No, we did a course in my school in grade 6.
Okay. Usually they do that through some organization. So do you
I have
still
no
have
idea.
do you have that certification somewhere?
I think so, probably.
Okay, you can look for now. You can just put your high school. You know, whatever. I'll just make up. I'll just do a high school.
Okay.
I'll pretend I'm in Helvin High School now. So then, what year was that? Did you get your certification?
That was in 2016.
Okay, great. So, and also a big rule of thumb, besides your highest education that you've had, make sure that everything is in descending order. So from the most recent thing you have to the oldest one. So just like that. So if I got something in 2014, so let's pretend let's get student members.
Would you recommend that we put like awards that we have as well as certificates?
Yeah, sure. So like an award in high school?
Yeah, like I don't know, like honor roll or high average award and stuff like that. Would you say those are good things to put on or not?
Yes. Especially if you don't have a lot of experience on your resume. Like, remember, keep in mind, you want to make sure that this is only 1 page long, right?
Right.
I'm writing all these as an example. So with that, if you want to do that, you want to probably put in a bullet point. So actually, I'm going to press tab. So you write honor roll grade 9 through 12. So yeah, if you got the honor roll all years, that's what you would do. Yeah. Now, when it comes to sports, we're going to get to that now. It looks like we only have 30 minutes left, so it's not a lot of time to make a resume exactly. I mean, it is enough, but we just got to plug along here. Okay, so now let's go to the next part of it. So above your education, you're going to write volunteer and community involvement And you can see right here, the resume looks a little bland right now. Like eventually we can bold things and stuff like that, but we're just going to keep this like this right now. So for instance, let's say I was a volunteer at Winnipeg Harvest. Did that 2019. So that's something I volunteered at. Does anybody here volunteer like at a long-term basis?
I did volunteer back in middle school for about 2 years.
Okay. And that was in the last 10 years?
Yeah, and I also actually got Youth Volunteer of the Year for that.
What were you volunteering for?
It was a youth, or not youth, it was a local organization called Saint Amant.
Oh yeah, I know Saint Amant. What so what did you do exactly there?
It was kind of more day-to-day things, so taking care of clients, having games and activities with them, and keeping them active, that kind of thing.
So would you say you're a facilitator?
Yeah, per se. Yeah.
Okay, so you can write facilitator. If you could think of a better name for that, maybe intern, perhaps.
Something like that.
And what years were that, if you don't mind me asking?
It was 2015 to 2016.
Hey, great. Anybody else shout out what you volunteer at?
I did some volunteering for like a summer camp for kids, and I was doing the registering and accounting.
Oh wow, okay. So what do you say that you were an administrator or?
Basically, the administrator for the summer camp.
And what was that camp called? See, I'm writing all your examples here. So.
I don't exactly remember the name, but I remember who was doing it, and it was LGC. It's like a church or something like that.
Okay. So, and again, a lot of times when you're writing a resume, you might think to yourself, "Oh yeah, I did that one job," and then you'll get back to it, right? And then you'll eventually get back to this to make this a little better. Also, keep in mind, like I was talking to Noah, who's on the call here. He was talking about he has so much experience. What type of experience do I want to put on my resume? You want to make sure you cater to the specific employer, the job that you want to apply for. But for this case, maybe write down everything that you've done. This could be more of a master resume, and then when you try to think about specific things companies want from you. But we're just making this more general. So when you were that administrator, was that you, Patel, who said that?
Yeah.
Administrator. What years were that, or which year?
That was in 2019.
All right, and make sure that again you put the most recent thing on top, the oldest on the bottom. Can anybody else be a volunteer to tell me where they volunteered at? Anybody here? There's so many of you, but not a lot of you are really talking.
I was a volunteer at a camp last summer.
And what did you do there exactly?
I led cabins and like the activities as well.
So you were like the camp counselor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And what camp was this?
Manitoba Pioneer Camp.
And then the year you said, what year was that again?
Last summer, so 2019.
Okay, great. All these camp stuff. This is great. Okay, has anybody ever babysat for free? Because if you have, you can put that here. So you can write, but instead of babysitter, you could write child care. And where do you do it? Was it at your aunt's house? Don't write your aunt's house. That doesn't look professional. Instead, write private residences or residence if it was one place. and you would write, let's say, I've been doing that since 2014. So 2014 to present, that's what you would do. Now with this, you would put a little higher because you're actually doing that right now. Like you're currently doing that right now. So you would put this on the very top if you're currently still doing that. All right. So you can see what we're doing here. And also in school, let's say you played varsity football. I'm gonna make up a team here. I don't know. Can somebody give me their high school football team name? Okay, I'll just doesn't make any sense. I went to going through this resume. I went to Kelvin High School and I went to John Taylor. That's a little weird. So I'm gonna go 2000. I'm gonna put this at the very bottom. All right, so the next part of this resume is exactly the same, but it's employment history. So you want to write the different jobs that you've actually worked at. So anybody here currently employed?
Yep.
All right, where do you work?
I'm a cashier at the local grocery store, and then I'm a clerk at the local drugstore.
Oh, fantastic. Good for you. What places?
Co-op, grocery store, and then Mitchell's Pharmacy.
Okay. Did I spell that right? Mitchell?
Yep.
Okay, great. So, and how long have you been doing that for?
3 years. Both. Of them.
Oh, good for you. All right, so space out here. Great. So, then I'll put my own experience. All right, can somebody else shout out a job that they have or have had in the past?
I work for my dad's company.
Oh, great. What do
Yeah.
you do?
We work with computers and like fix them and update them and stuff like that.
Okay, so I guess you would say what would you call that? IT consultant?
Yeah.
All right. I guess maybe you don't want to give your dad's company name, so maybe I'll just say Manitoba Tech. Okay, I'm making that up. That looks pretty professional, I guess. So anyway, say, oh, I did that. I'm pretending I did it. Oh, I did that back in 2019. Because look, and everything here is present here. All right, so those are just some examples. We only have 20 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions for me right now? Because I'm going kind of fast with this. Okay, so all right, so now let's get to skills and experience. Remember I talked about this in the PowerPoint? So these are the specific things that you've actually done. So for instance, varsity football, when I played for varsity football for the John Taylor Pipers, according to this, what I'm gonna write is work as part of a team to get points, encourage teammates, boys. customers. So as a cashier, greeted customers. And by the way, all of these things, you don't put I. You don't say, oh, I worked as part of a team. You don't say, you know, I greeted customers. Greeted customers in a friendly manner. So I'm talking. So I'm doing cashier / clerk here. Greeted customers in a friendly manner. And then another job duty you do as a when you greeted customers, or when you were a cashier, for instance, is you would write. Well, no, actually, no, that'd be a little late. Operated here ensuring proper cash handling. So you want to make sure you have the reason, you know, why you did it. You know, you operated a cashier, cash register. Sorry. So this is essentially what it is. You really want to be specific. Sorry, did somebody say something?
Yeah, I have a question about the education and awards. So, for the education and volunteering time or work time, does it have to have a specific frame of time? Does it have to be like from 5 years ago to up to now, or can it be from everything we have done?
Typically, it's 5 years.
5 years? Okay.
Yeah, it's 5 years. But I mean, obviously, let's say you got your grade 12. I mean, I got my grade 12 actually, well, almost 10 years ago now. But I'll still put it there. So yeah, when it comes to volunteer and stuff, everything that you've done in the last 10 years, like I've had experiences of work more than 10 years ago, but I'm not going to put that on here. So it's only things that are yeah. And also, again, make sure that they're relevant. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example with me. When I was 16, I worked for my dad, and what I did is I filed, you know, files all the time. And I never work a job now that's really related to that. So I wouldn't put that there. Plus, I didn't really care so much about the job because I was kind of a bratty kid. So I wouldn't put that there. So make sure they're jobs that are actually relevant to you that you think are important. So yeah, really just every time you look at your resume, think about, should I put that on here?
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. So also notice that with skills and experience, you want to make them, you don't want to have 3 words. You don't just want to have like 2 or 3 words. Remember the example. We don't want to do swept, you know, mowed lawns. You don't want to just do that. You want to explain it more. Private homes. Things like this. So very specific. All right. So we're going through this pretty quickly. Do you guys get a handle on the skills and experience part? Let me know if you don't. All right, I'm going to take your silence as you guys are good. We're going to go to the next part. The last part is professional profile. Who you are in a nutshell, essentially. So basically, how I would describe myself is friendly and individual who enjoys working with others of all ages and backgrounds. So things like that. That's what I would write about me. Let's say, and so another example of that would be independent. who creates meets deadlines, works well as part of a team, as well as individually. I'm just giving all these examples basically of things that you would write as professional profile. Let's say in general, versatile employee, experience and profits. So, for instance, Noah, you were talking about how you're a versatile employee. You know how to do a lot of things. You could write about that in your professional profile. So it's just a little bit of a taste about what you have, what you can do.
All right, good note.
Yeah. So just you don't have to make it super long about like ramble. I'm really good at this. I'm really good at that. Just make it short and sweet. Things like that. All right, so it's a little bit of a mess for now, the way this resume looks like. Ideally, you want to make this, again, one page. And ideally, you want to have at least 1 to 3 bullet points for each job. And sometimes, a lot of the jobs are very similar. Who said they were a cashier and a clerk? Who works at Mitchell's Pharmacy here? Did he leave? I think that was Austin. I think he left. I guess he did. Anyway, a lot of duties that you do when you work can be very similar to other things. So if you were a cashier for multiple jobs, then just have one bullet point that you know how to do a cashier. Big thing in cashier is general and point of sale system. Point of sale. So that's what cashiers use. So anybody here can speak a second language? Nobody here can speak a second language?
I can.
Oh, what do you speak?
I speak French.
Oui, that's good. So, proficient in, yeah, sorry, when you guys raise your hand, I can't always see that, unfortunately. So you guys might have to speak up. So, English and French communication. Oh, that's good. Now, if you just only speak English, you wouldn't just say proficient in English because it's kind of redundant. So, write that. So I hope your resume looks somewhat good after this. How are you guys doing with your resume right now? You guys doing well writing this? Are you struggling? What do you guys think? Right? So after you're done with all of this, I think it's really important then to really edit this because this just looks like it looks kind of plain text. You want to make sure that you make your name nice and big because actually when you write your most important part of your resume is your name because it's your experience. All of this stuff is yours. So make your name nice and big. Bold your points here. I'm actually going to take away some of the education here. No, I'm going to take away volunteer stuff because that's not the most important to me. I'm going to make my font a little smaller as well. I think I'm going to go to no, not Webdings. You guys like that? Oh no, it wasn't there. But yeah, don't use this text. Okay, that's not gonna work unless you're a spy or something. I don't know. So let me go with Calibri. That's a good classic one. Go with 12. There we go. Now things are more on the page. Oh, still. Take that off. This is really when you can start looking at this yourself and making sure everything is good. Another quick tip for all of you to do is if you go to layout and you go to page margins and you do narrow margins, now there's a lot more room on here, right? Look at that. Make sure all your margins here are all lined, everything is all lined up. So you see here, kind of finicky here, so I move that there. I'm gonna fold this. And I'm gonna make it 16. See, now everything fits now. All right. All right, so guys, we only have 8 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions about this resume workshop here that we're doing today?
Is that all you need to hand in?
In regards to what?
Like let's say if I wanted to go straight in person to some of the businesses, could I just give them this and this would is there anything else that
Well, one thing that I really recommend, again, make sure it's the business that you want to apply for. So make sure that they see what you want to, like, is there actually a specific job that you want to apply for? Like in real life right now, or?
not at the moment yet?
Okay. Well, it's really important to make sure that it's catered to that specific job. So let's say you have lots of experience on there about childcare, but you're applying to be a cashier. What does a cashier have to do with, what does babysitting have to do with being a cashier? Make sure it's specific to that job. Does that answer your question, or?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and then also it's important to maybe add a cover letter as well. So, do you know what a cover letter is?
No.
Okay, so basically it's a letter to the employer talking about a little bit about who you are. Sort of, I mean, it's weird to think about. It's sort of like a love letter to the employer, talking about like, hey, this is why I'm the best for you. It's kind of your little sales pitch about, hey, this is why you should hire me.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, if you are thinking about writing a cover letter, again, please check us out. Our website is www.yesmb.ca. I just put it in the chat right here. And if you have any other questions, you can message me personally on my email right here. And I can definitely put you out in the right direction, and I can even help you write a cover letter. Just like we're writing a resume right now. I can help you with that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm here for you guys. So this essentially is what a resume should look like. Another thing you can do is you can add borders. So if you put a border at the bottom, look at that. That looks a lot fancier, right? Look at that. Okay, so bottom. Yeah, click on that. And the very last thing you want to do, and in fact, if you guys are interested, I can send me an email. I can also send you a template of this resume that we're making. This is available on request. Then what you want to do is you want to center it like this. Now this is what a resume should really look like. I'm going to zoom out here. Sometimes you can even just tell that just by looking at a resume if a resume looks good. If you see a resume that looks like this, it's very well organized. It's easy to read. Like right from the get-go, you can see right now, ooh, professional profile. Maybe this is almost too small for you guys. Let me pick up a little bit. You can see, oh, professional profile. Then it goes in experience, employment history, volunteer community involvement. This is all very easy to read. So another thing to point out, just like, when we were talking about, make sure it's tailored to the job. If you have a babysitter certificate on here, but you're applying for a job as a cashier, don't put babysitter certificate there. It's really not relevant. So there's that. All right, so we got 4 minutes left. Do you guys have any questions for me before we're done here? I'm so glad that you guys could attend today, and I hope you learned something new. Did one of you actually write a full resume? Along with me, or?
Yeah, I just didn't put specific information. I just kind of, I'm gonna probably edit it.
Okay. Well, okay, good. At least you got the information and everything. And yeah, and Juan, you just email me. I'll be able to send you a template, and if you need any help, are you in our age range, 16 to 29?
Yeah, I'm 16.
Oh, perfect. Oh, great. Yeah, well, I'll put you in the right direction. Just shoot me an email. You see on the chat, I'll be able to help you out. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right. This has been good. I'm gonna turn off my sharing thing here. But yeah, this has been fun, and I hope you guys were able to make a really good resume. I'm gonna show my ugly mug here. So that's what I look like. Yeah, thank you guys so much for attending. Did you guys see any other workshops today, or is this your first workshop? All right. Great. I think this was good. Noah, were you able to write your resume, your master resume now?
I think I got some ideas. I'll say that. I have a couple things floating around that I might want to add.
Okay. Well, like I said, it sounds like you're in our age range as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so definitely give us a shout out, and we can help you out. And yeah, it's good. So.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Alexander. Have a great
rest
of your day.
Yeah, you too. All right, and check out the other presentations.
All right. See you later.
Okay. See you around.